a little bit more room to breathe. We saw a lot of that in Blood Covenant already. We might see even some Ruins of Sarnath.
Here we go.
But of course, we are going to be going over to Blood Run as DaHanG's major pick. This is a map that first came onto the scene in 1997 and has pretty much been ported to every Quake and even games outside of Quake since then. It is a map with a lot of history, but it's got a few new wrinkles this time around in Quake Champions. You've got a couple new paths, you've got a new jump pad, and there's a lot of new strategies coming out of that, and I think DaHanG's been enjoying seeing it.
Speaking of a lot of history, I mean, when you think about it, 1997 is probably just a little bit older or younger, right around the the age demographic of the average viewer. So it's kind of crazy to think about, you know, when you think about the history of this game. But not to talk about history, let's talk about the present. Let's throw it over to the commentators who are standing by, Blue and Machiavelli.
All right, thank you very much, Stunna, and we are already live with the action once again, jumping into this first map between Sane and DaHanG. Now, an interesting choice from DaHanG here over on Blood Run as well. You'll note that we have a new champion coming in that we didn't really get to see at all in that previous set. This is going to be the Galena, which is a very popular pick for this map.
Yeah, there's a lot of blind corners, little areas where you can hide a totem, and it really can influence a round really easily. I mean, somebody comes through the portal, takes that 75 damage, and there's even instances where if you get into a fight in a pinch, you can throw the totem down and shoot a rocket, so you're kind of getting that double damage in there. So there's definitely different ways to utilize Galena, and statistically, she has a much higher pick rate on this map compared to other maps.
Yeah, and this is another thing we didn't get to explain is, you know, what exactly makes her powerful. Those totems you already saw DaHanG placing one of those totems down before. Each champion has their own active ability. In the case of DaHanG's current character on the Galena, it's those totems that you see being placed on the ground. Now, DaHanG can use those actually as little rally points to heal himself if he wants to, but his opponent can also destroy them. But if his opponent unwittingly walks into them, then it does 75 damage to him. And as you were mentioning, there's a lot of very tight corners here. There's a lot of, just like that, right there. He threw it down really quickly, and he was able to use that in combination with the quick switch over to the LG in order to get a quick first kill. Nicely done. Perfect demonstration of the totem as well, just as we were explaining.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? We were just talking about the totem and placing it through tellies and how it can set something up, and yeah, DaHanG put one right outside the teller. Very common play. Sane it ran into it, he saw it, turned around, got the frag.
The teleporters are the real thing on this map because I think the usage of the teleporters is a lot more common on this map compared to some of the others that we've seen so far.
Yeah, if you cut off either that lower teleporter you saw or the teleporter by the rocket launcher, I mean, that's a serious problem for your opponent because, yeah, those teleporters are used frequently in this map, and if you have to take a different route because of that, it's going to slow you down and also make you more predictable.
And look at this now. Great aggressive play coming in from DaHanG, diving into the fight, doing at least 200 damage there on the nails, but he's going to have to be careful here because his health level got down pretty low too. He was hit by the spit from the Sorlag. It's another ability, whereas DaHanG currently has the totems to place down. Sane, every couple seconds, is going to be able to spit out a projectile. And if it connects onto him, it's going to do 30 damage per hit. So it'll sneak a rail shot there too, but he's going to be able to heal most of that back via the use of the totem. Anyway, continuing the point, if Sane is able to hit people directly with those spitballs, then it does 30 damage per hit, but it also puts a dot on the opponent as well. It's going to continuously do damage for the next 2 to 3 seconds or so.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to run into the Sorlag acid spit. That will make a mess of you even if you're fully stacked. just don't run into it. You got to really watch out, especially on this map. It's very effective because, again, there's a lot of corners, a lot of hallways where you can come around and just run into your opponent point blank, and a Sorlag, you don't want to run into her.
Yeah. So DaHanG once again looking for what he needs to engage against Sane. He's already got a great advantage knocking out his Anarchy, so he doesn't have to deal with anything super fast-paced anymore, at least until he gets over to the Visor, which is his 3rd champion pick there. You can see in the middle for Sane.
And for people who are a little unfamiliar with Sane, who haven't seen the qualifiers, his Anarchy really is his bread and butter champion. So knocking him off of that is a big deal. That's also why you see him going to the Sorlag as his follow-up. Has a similar air control, a little slower, but also it's the same style of movement. And then you can see that that's his favorite, kind of play style.
DaHanG trying to jump right into this fight. He actually puts himself in a pretty poor position though, but he still has that totem on the ground, assuming it doesn't get destroyed. So he has that as a bit of an emergency if Sane were to continue that fight. Chose not to do so though. He dove back out. Now DaHanG is trying to read into that. You can see again throwing the totem down at the exit to the teleporter from down below. But I think Sane's going to wrap around, see that in a second. And yeah, he just destroyed that totem that was placed down. So Sane's actually doing a pretty good job right now of countering out a lot of those totem plays. But the problem is that he's spending a lot of time doing that and not a lot of time hunting down DaHanG. As once more, we are coming down to the timer of this with just a minute remaining. Sane only has, 50 seconds now to try to trade out the frag from earlier. And unfortunately, he just ran into another totem there, so it's not going to help his case with it being brought down to only about 25 HP. He's got to spend some time recovering health now, but not very long. He's going to dive into the fight in the Mega Health room, but has to quickly bail out for the same reason. Just didn't do enough damage there. Was worried about his own life's sake.
Yeah, DaHanG's in a good spot right now. He's just playing defensively. He's going to make Sane come right after him, because when somebody is running right after you, it's much easier to line them up for shots. And there it is. There's the finisher there. So good. It was really close. I mean, Sane had some opportunities there, but you got to give credit to DaHanG. It seemed like he was really kind of to follow up on Jahar's point where he was talking about him. Really strong mental play. Nothing too, nothing too fancy or show. Like he's just really consistent is what I would say from DaHanG. And I love the totem placement. He caught Sane a couple times.
That's probably some of the most efficient totem usage we've seen so far, at least for me. Even in going back to like the qualifiers and whatnot, even the stuff at E3. We had that one fun thing at E3 where someone just killed someone entirely with a totem, but we haven't seen totem usage like that in quite a long time here. So that was some really good stuff from DaHanG, and that's going to be a problem that Sane now has to deal with going into these next consecutive rounds here. As there's no reason for DaHanG to switch over to a different starting champion, and as you see, he's going to very quickly go right back onto the Galena to start off in round 2.
Yeah, DaHanG, really good mental play. I just really like it. Sane is one of his things, I think, is he's really powerful in Anarchy and stuff, but I think once you take him off of that, I think he drops a little bit in terms of how competitive he is, and I think this might be something he needs to work on in the long term, but I don't know, maybe he has been in the practices, but we'll see. I know I've talked to him in private, and he recognizes that Anarchy is by far his favorite champion, so he's been trying to work on it from what he told me.
DaHanG also has some incredible nail gun control too. A lot of players, I mean myself included, tend to struggle with just controlling the spray of that nail gun, as it can be pretty brutal, especially when you get like beyond like mid-range. But he's doing pretty good at it right there. He just did easily like 150 damage with that nice spray. So
yeah, it's similar to the plasma gun, to use a previous weapon that was in other Quakes, where it's a projectile. It's like in between. It's projectile, but it's so fast it almost hits damage. So you gotta have to lead and project. Oh my goodness, great with rockets. Just what do you say to that? I mean,
look at this, beautiful. As we get the replay up, they are fighting once again and quickly off the respawns. We'll have to jump back into the game relatively quickly. And here's going to be DaHanG. Rocket jumps up, but it works out. It's a bit of a risk. He only survives the fight with 30 HP, recovering it quickly though because of the totem placement. But big risk with a big payoff apparently. His opponent was not expecting him to jump back up, and he's going to follow it through with the 3rd kill. DaHanG taking very quick control of a 2nd round already now with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, really starting to get a. It seems like he's really starting to read Sane a little bit there, rocking him those rockets. His rockets are landing, as we saw. He's really starting to punish Sane a little bit. And again, the mental game of DaHanG is really impressive. I like how it's just very consistent. That's the word I see from him. It's like he's good at recognizing, hey, I don't want to take this engagement. He's really minimizing the chances Sane has to get a frag on him. And then when he sees an opportunity to get a frag, he's making the most of it.
DaHanG actually was put into a kind of iffy situation at the beginning of this round. Look at this now. There's that control with the nail gun coming in again that I was just talking about. Beautifully done. Completely outbeat Sane in just an open 1v1 fight, and once again takes the advantage. Knocking out the Anarchy too. Sane trying to get tricky there, as you can see. Jumped up a little bit there and was able to trick him into thinking that he wasn't in the room. So connected a very nice rocket, but DaHanG just going to skirt around the sides of this place. Keep himself alive, avoiding combat for the most part until he can get this totem back up. It'll be good to re-engage. I think he heard him go up top, and he definitely knows he's there now. Unfortunately, because of that, he's not able to go in and chase down the full armor, so he's going to be restricted to just his primary 100 health right now.
Yeah, and going back to that kill, I really like how DaHanG utilized the nail gun there. It's really deadly when people are having to go through doorways and corridors at you.
There's a nice spin around from Sane. He was able to finally complete that run around to the backside of DaHanG. Finally knocking out this Galena too. As I said before, that's been a big issue for Sane. Has been dealing with it and finding a way to knock out this initial champion. I think that was one of the only kills that Sane was able to get so far in this map. And now he's going to want to look to continue that, but DaHanG getting aggressive now. Boarding over behind his opponent, but a good rocket jump escape from Sane. Gets him out of that hot spot and allows him to survive for another day to hopefully re-engage here in a couple of moments.
Yeah, he's going to try to get the frag here and probably go right for that mega health. Oh my goodness, that nail gun of DaHanG. I mean,
I saw saying.
He is really, that's when we were talking earlier about switching from online to LAN. Weapons like the nail gun, like the super nail gun, become just way more effective on LAN than they are online. So it's something to look out for. It's something obviously DaHanG was ready for.
Yeah. DaHanG, unfortunately, leaving himself out in the open for a little bit. I think he was getting a bit greedy trying to hunt down that full armor there, so did have to take that fight against Sane's final champion and did get traded out. So now this comes down to a 1v1, and there's plenty of time left in the round as well, with just under 3 minutes remaining. It's very likely that someone is going to get this kill. We'll see it completed via frags, not via the timer here. DaHanG going to be on the Ranger, and for Sane, The over on the visor. He'll hit the first shot as well. Great, nice connection with the rail range there. So, but there's that nail gun again. Look at this from DaHanG. Whirling off so much damage from range. He's got Sane trapped in a corner right now. Sane's trying to battle out of it, but it doesn't work well. And DaHanG, once again, rocket jumping his way into victory as he leaps up on top, completes the final frag, and will take a flawless map 1 victory.
Yeah, nice read, Sane coming out of the portal with the nail gun, as you said. I mean, great nail gun work. I mean, what was his? I mean, he must have did some more serious work with the nail gun there. 768 damage in the map for him. And then, of course, the pinning him down with the rockets, right? So then he's throwing the rockets up in the corner, really keeping Sane. You saw him, he really couldn't move and go anywhere. And then when he finally did decide to peek out, he ate a rocket. DaHanG was already rocket jumping up and going for the frag at that point. So, again, just solid play from DaHanG. Sane gave him a good run, had his moments here and there, but overall, it's just the consistency from DaHanG is just really solid and just constantly putting pressure on Sane.
And you can once again see the map picks, of course, for those of you who weren't here for our pregame segment. The second one that we're going to be moving on to is now going to be Sane's pick over on the Ruins of Sarnath. It's a map we haven't seen played just yet. It's a bit of a deceiving map, as it does appear rather large, but there's a lot of ways to get quickly around the map and over to other parts of the map that would otherwise take you a lot longer to get to if you just took a straight path. There's a lot of like side corridors and whatnot that you can use.
Yeah, and especially the portal that will cut off the map and take you up to the super nail gun area, and then of course the Mega Health Bridge area. I mean, you can literally get to every area of the map from there in a matter of seconds. So there are key areas of the map that if you're in control, you can really utilize those areas to get to all the other side areas of the map and continue to put pressure on your opponent.
So just a second here as we do sort out the start of this next match, then we should be able to dive right back into it. But so far, DaHanG has been showing up as quite the dominant player in this initial matchup here. Sane, unfortunately, not putting up the greatest challenge. We did see him kind of getting into it a little bit there towards the end of the match. Like you were saying before, the translation going from online to LAN sometimes is a little bit rough for players. I've talked to players about this in other games as well. It's one that really affects any game at all, as it does take them a couple rounds to really get into the feel of LAN play and kind of adjust to that. And that also happens, I mean, going back to it as well, when they switch back to online play, coming back from like a bigger LAN event or something like that. Players sometimes are a little bit iffy here and there for a couple of days as they get themselves used to it. Yeah,
LAN it's always been an adjustment going to LAN. I'm thinking back into my competing days, like what a difference. And I can imagine in any game, first-person shooters particularly, when you're so sensitive to latency, playing on LAN is a big difference. You can see it there with the super nail gun, as we saw from DaHanG. I would guess he probably wouldn't use it as often, maybe in an online circumstance. It's something I'd be curious to question him about. You know, hey, you know, is this something you went into the LAN like purposely thinking like, hey, you know what, because of latency, the nail gun will be more effective. Players might not be ready for it. Something you can bust out. And let's not forget, he kind of has a decent practice partner to get ready with. You know, by the name of Rafa, a teammate of his. So. That's a good way to keep yourself sharp by playing the current champion. Yeah,
the back-to-back champion as well. That's what we've been told. But it looks like we do have a little bit of a correction, guys. We did mention earlier that we were going to be heading to the Ruins of Sarnath. That's actually not the case. We're jumping back over to Corrupted Keep, which you guys saw played first earlier in our previous matchup. That was the first map played there. It's a much smaller map. It's a very tight arena. There's not a lot of room for escape once you enter a fight, so you have to be ready to take that fight. And there's also no railgun on this map, so you're going to want to keep your eyes on that too. These players are mainly going to have to use rockets along with the LG, and well, in DaHanG's case, probably a little bit of nail gun play as well, based on what we saw in that previous map too, to try and win out these fights and gain an advantage. That's what's very important here, especially on this map now, with how small it is getting that initial advantage and making sure you can get good control over both of the power-up pickups. Yeah,
it's an interesting map. Like you said, it's smaller, so you really reading your opponent and making sure, one, you don't run into ambushes, run into traps, and being able to set up your own. You're going to see this back and forth play with sounds. They're going to slow it down. They're both going to be trying to read each other. And like, as you mentioned, it's all rockets, lightning gun. Should be very familiar for somebody like Sane. He comes from Quake 1, and he's been playing Quake a long time. So taking the railgun out of it, I don't know if that's a strategy of his maybe. You know, again, some people may feel, you know, maybe their railgun aim isn't as good as their opponents, so they may try to move to a map like this to kind of even it out.
Well, we are going to be going live here in just a moment. As you can see, we've got the players loaded in, and we're into the map. We're ready to start off, and you can see that Anarchy, which once again is going to be the starting champion choice for Sane. They're going to leap right into it. DaHanG also starting off on a Nyx as well, as you note. So we've got a pretty squishy fight to start things off. Both of these champions are going to die in a heartbeat if they're not careful. So power-up control is incredibly important at the start.
Yeah, and especially now, as you mentioned, they're both really squishy champions. Getting that first rocket, right? The hit in these engagements are critical. these champions cannot take much. You know, a couple good rockets in their toes.
Sane trying to jump back in, trying to get a little bit closer so he can do work with the rockets. We took a decent amount of damage along the way. Now getting hit by a rocket, really can't connect much. His opponent is going to pop the stealth off, and Sane trying to make a run to beat him over to the Mega Armor. Can he get it in time? No, he has to leap back up on top. It's only just spawning now, but his opponent did steal it away. So once more, DaHanG is going to start off with the advantage there. Got to the armor first forced his opponent away, and had better damage done overall from the previous fight, so was able to complete that first kill.
Yeah, he set a nice ambush at the Mega Health there. You know, Sane came in, had good timing, landed right on it, but DaHanG made it pay with some well-placed rockets, and before Sane could answer, it was it was a good ghost walk. I mean, he really avoided that rocket, repositions the armor, and got the kill there. I mean, it's so close. It really could. It's razor close, but in the end, you know, DaHanG was the one who was a little ahead of Sane there.
Sane trying to leap back up on top now for some rockets that he can hit. After he's now looking to recover off the respawn, and for DaHanG, well, he's got a nice little stack built up for himself here. He's already got beyond full armor at this point in time, and in a second he's going to be ready to try and go for the Mega pickup too. Although this time it looks like Sane may actually try to dive in and challenge him. He's sitting just on the outside of the boneyards there, but not really going to be successful in attempting to counter it out. He did knock away a lot of the armor, but the thing is DaHanG's going to roll right over here, and we won't even see a challenge from Sane on the full armor pickup. So DaHanG's going to get that for free, and did a good 50 damage or so on the LG with that spam there too. So now also took down quite a bit of Sane's health pool.
Yeah, that was just nice. I mean, it wasn't ideal. He just saw him and tracked him with the lightning and like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna hit all of this right here. Really, these guys are all just really good. It's amazing to watch.
Well, DaHanG is now looking to try to get himself back in to get that Mega Health pickup, but he actually missed it. Sane had great timing on his push inside, and it was enough aggression to keep DaHanG on the outside of it, not wanting to directly jump back in and challenge. He knew his opponent was probably going to be able to get down to the Mega Health, but he also now gets the armor too because of the way the timers were set up for DaHanG. He actually worked that timing against DaHanG that he himself had set up, so great stuff from Sane to now pull a little bit of reversal here. He has an advantage, and he can definitely dive in for the engagement. Great damage being done, but there's also a decent amount being done on the return here, so DaHanG is ready to jump back into the fight. Great spam on the LG with that. Completes the second kill now and is able to hold on despite just losing both the power-ups. Again,
to talk about DaHanG, the mentality, the smart play, when he ghost walked and Sane kind of jumped off, he threw an initial obvious reaction a lot of players will make would go for the kill and just jump down after him, but he was patient. He stayed up there and waited for Sane to bait or use the dire or bat. I really like the patience there, and it just shows how strong he is mentally. You know, he didn't. Because it's easy in that situation to panic. Oh, I got the frag. I'm going to go after him. I'm going to get the kill right now. You know, I'm going to go get it and jump down. And then, oh, he teleported up and, you know, you just wasted your ghost walk. But instead, he just had that mental fortitude to not, you know, let the pressure get to him. And he just made a great play. Yeah, and after we saw that second kill, DaHanG, no problem at all, locking down the third and final frag there too. So Sane, unfortunately, falls without much retaliation against DaHanG in round number 1 here. So DaHanG is going to be feeling good about himself and the way that he's playing out things here on this second map. And it's going to allow him to hold nice control. So we can keep that, of course, going into the second round, but Sane getting a nice LG spray off himself. DaHanG actually almost dies to that. Survived with a little over 25 HP. He's just able to escape. He hasn't recovered any of it yet, though. He's still sitting extremely low. So Sane's got the run of the mill right now. He can go all over the map. Yeah, Sane he can still make a comeback here. It's not, you know, but it's going to be rough because DaHanG is really playing. I mean, not just playing sharp, but he's playing consistent. That's the thing. And there's not a lot of up and downs with him right now, from what I can see. I mean, it just seems like he's playing at a really steady level, and it's a high level. So he's going to be tough to beat.
You can see the movement speed from Sane there too, and a lot of that is coming in because of the fact that he's currently playing on the Anarchy, which is a very fast champion. It's got great acceleration, the way that it moves around. It's very easy to take tighter turns on the champion like that as well, because he has the hoverboard to work with instead of just his feet. So Sane now diving into the fight. He's actually going to lose it out actually at the end of the day, despite having that big advantage. The LG spam just was not in his favor there.
Yeah, again, DaHanG with the smart mental play. What evened that out is he had a nice prediction rocket for Sane when he came out of that portal to really even the stacks up a little bit, and then yeah, he just took the initiative, and that little initiative you get with lightning gun a lot of times will make the difference, and he was able to get the kill there.
Sane trying to fall back, trying to get back this advantage that he had towards the beginning of the round, but was unable to translate. He's now going to take the port up top over here into the red room, looking to quickly wrap that over to chase down his opponent up on top of the LG spawn. But now this is a very close range bout. He's got to be careful moving around this little as well, because he could just get telefragged if he's not careful coming out of the stealth. Thankfully for Sane, DaHanG is not going to attempt that. He is just going to bail out of this fight for some of the next respawns.
Yeah, you got the frag lead. No need to do anything foolish, especially with so much time left on the clock. He's like I said, I like how he's playing. I really do. I can't get over it. Can't say it enough. The decision making is on top of his aim. I mean, his aim is obviously very solid, but he's just playing very consistent with the way he's making decisions. I mean, he's just making great reads.
He's got a very decent lead to work off of here now as well, even with the one champion advantage, counting into just this next 1v1 here. Great way to try and change this back around, but Sane, okay, that was a little weird. Sane actually ends up on top of his opponent there, and ends up just bonking him on the head to take him out there and claiming the trade kill. So he gets that back now, and it goes tied back up. We're approaching the 3-minute mark in this first round.
Looks like maybe a very slight miscalculation by DaHanG there. I think he thought the mega health was going to be up, and he was going to pick it while lightning gunning him, above him, but Sane just rocket jumped on his head, basically.
And a bit of a surprise as they both spot each other here now. Both of them playing onto the Ranger, too. It's going to be another mirror matchup. Sane controls the Mega Health. I don't think he's going to be able to successfully route his way over to the power up in time, though. The armor. Actually, hold on. Oh, he just missed it. And unfortunately, as a result of diving in so aggressively, he is going to lose the following battle to DaHanG. And DaHanG will now take that every single day. Sane is trying to reverse this now as he pushes his opponent off the map and takes him down with the LG in the process. There's the quick trade, and now we go back down into another 1v1.
Wow, that was just such a quick turnaround in regard to DaHanG frag, and then Sane came right back. Look at this lightning gun from Sane, jeez.
He's got to be careful though, he was taking quite a bit from the SMG. Sane trying to run outside here and keep himself too much out of harm's way. Does manage to get himself the gun pick up too, but at the moment, well, he did have an initial great advantage on the dive before. Off the LG. Unfortunately, a lot of that didn't really seem to translate too well to the next fight, so they'd come out on the losing end of the second engagement, and DaHanG is now at a pretty good point on his visor. He's built up armor, he's max HP and everything like that. Or Sane, he's got the health, he just doesn't have any armor built up yet, which is why he's really camping around this full armor spawn to try and get that. But actually, the pressure from DaHanG is going to be enough to force Sane away. Either that or Sane lost the timers, so...
No, he can't make a play there. He's actually in a really rough spot. I'd be surprised if DaHanG doesn't get the finish here for this round, because it's going to be really he's got a disadvantage in any hit scan battle. So if they get in a lightning gun, machine gun battle, the Snorlax's a much bigger, tankier character compared to Visor, so DaHanG's going to have an advantage there. On top of that, he doesn't have control. So somehow he needs to set an ambush to do some damage on DaHanG and force him off one of his major items. Like right here, he's doing some decent rocket work.
2 damage being done that time, though, but the spin combined with the head-on rocket is going to be enough to complete the last kill. So Sane, nicely done with the comeback there, as he does indeed tie us up at 1-1.
Yeah, he landed some good rockets, came in with the spit, landed the spit, another rocket, and took DaHanG out. I thought DaHanG maybe, he had the timing, so it seemed like he got a little comfortable running back and forth there, and maybe thought Sane wouldn't go for it. It's hard to say, in the moment what the players are thinking, because I think maybe he thought Sane was just looking to get a shot in or two and then back off again like he did, but Sane made a nice aggressive play.
Sane still trying to do some work with the nail gun as well, taking a page out of DaHanG's book from the last map. DaHanG, we haven't really seen all that much play from him on the nail gun this time around. He's pretty much stayed away from it and stuffed his basic LG and rockets most of the time. We've seen a couple times that he's tried to use the SMG, but that's pretty much been it. Now Sane diving in a hole, and he gets hopped. So goodbye very quickly to Sane's first character. It's not going to last very long in that situation, as DaHanG gets 2 nice rockets, and that alone is going to finish the job. DaHanG's got to be a little bit careful getting leaped into the air, but still stays close up. Some great work with the LG. Almost completes the kill. If he wants to chase this, he can. Get this pretty quickly. He's at sub 25, and there you go. There's a second kill from DaHanG. DaHanG's up for revenge now after losing that previous round. He wants to close out round 3 in record time.
Yeah, that was a nice ghost walk. Sane had it pinned really good with a lightning gun when he used it, and then he just turned it around on him, and then lightning gun in the back, and got the finish over there. So again, when it comes to decision making in this game, you really got to look at DaHanG and just be impressed.
Yeah, DaHanG missing all the damage that he was trying to do against Sane there, so Sane ends up with this massive health pool to work off. Now, he can certainly go and engage once he recovers just a little bit more armor here, now that he has just under 200 HP to work off of here, so that's quite a bit of damage that he can eat up, especially now with the armor. This is the initial initiation. He's not going to take all that much damage, only goes down by about 20 or so from the LG, but still.
Expect DaHanG to set up a ghost walk in here. Oh, he's just going straight in for it.
You are never
Didn't even need it. Didn't even need it. I mean, because Sane was in a bad spot there. So, position-wise, you're back at the top of the lightning gun portal there. It's really tough to escape. So DaHanG, for his credit, made a good play, took good position at the doorway. He's kind of peeking at him with the the machine gun and everything. And once he made a move to try to escape, he pushed up with the lightning gun and pinned him. And as a Sorlag, you know, like we've seen in previous tank-type champions, they get lined up with a lightning gun and they can't move. they just get lit up.
So DaHanG taking control of round 3 in under 2 minutes. That's great stuff for him. He's able to lock down Sane that quickly and take back his lead in the map. Now he only needs one more to take control of the series too, because he'd win the second map and he already won our first map before on a Blood Run. So now with this, one more victory, he can claim dominance and push himself forward into the round of 16.
Very interesting. Both guys got a handle on some decent stack right now. Again, this map, it really comes down to a few set ambushes here and there. I mean, really can change the tide. So a good read, a nice prediction rocket can really set things up for you.
Sane trying to do some damage at range here too with the SMG. He's got the upgraded one. Just gotta be a little bit careful there. When he goes for the armor pickup, I don't know if he realized he was being chased. Well, he sees it now. He was being chased by DaHanG there. Thankfully for him, DaHanG wasn't really able to get up all that much damage. So Sane's now gonna find himself really trying to lock down DaHanG's movement here. Because he keeps trying to predict it, but he's way off the mark right now. DaHanG's on the other side of the map. It isn't saying much, because it's a small map, but...
Well, when I was touching on earlier about DaHanG, even when it seems like he just doesn't give Sane a lot of opportunities. And I mean, unless he feels it's time to fight, it really feels like he's dictating the engagements for the most part. Obviously, Sane has got some frags and done his own work, but overall, it just seems like DaHanG is initiating more. Like right there, see, Sane was able to initiate. He got the first rocket. He forced the engagement, but overall in the match, it just seems like DaHanG is the one dictating the pace a little bit.
Sane had a great dive there, just leaps over the top of his opponent and then is able to finish off the job with primarily the LG, as we saw after he hit that initial rocket there. So good early control from Sane, and it's now up to DaHanG to claim revenge on that one. Over 2 minutes into the round 2, nice hop. Unfortunately, it hopped Sane right into the portal, so he was still able to get out of there pretty clean.
The important thing, though, DaHanG secured the heavy armor there, so he's pretty stacked. I would imagine he's going to come back and try to fight for this. Oh man, those ran into those.
Sane's gonna get hit by a big rocket too, and he doesn't even have time for the injection. DaHanG with the clutch Dyro coming out there at the last second, and that completes the trade. Back down to a 2v2 will go. We're only about halfway through the round.
Yeah, Sane landed those that good prediction rocket initially for 100 damage, followed up with a little splash damage, and was going in for the kill, but good counter by DaHanG, and as we've seen in other matches, watch out for that Dire Orb.
And Anarchy was even trying to go for the injection too, as Sane had that pop. Just didn't actually get the injection done in time. He was only at 17 HP. That might have saved his life. However, DaHanG with a Dire Report, the damage itself still might have been enough to take him down. As Sane now looks to re-engage here, get back his advantage if he can. Timer also on these power-ups are about to come in too, and DaHanG unfortunately misses the armor. And Sane trying to push in, but his opponent is right outside the door. He still wants that mega health, but at this point, it's not really possible. So just tries to go for some ranged rocket damage and really doesn't connect on much of that either.
Yeah, DaHanG was waiting for him some nail gun spam coming out of that portal and everything, so oh my goodness, ambush right in the back.
The spit coming out, but it's all way too low on the aim, so DaHanG just goes in with a straight LG spam and gets an easy kill. Not even going to die to the dot or anything like that, that DaHanG eventually did end up walking through and only brought him down to 88 HP, so he's back up to full already. And he's ready to take the next fight in this now Ranger v Ranger mirror matchup.
Yeah, just a nice read by DaHanG and a little bit of a misread by Sane. Obviously, he had his back completely turned to his opponent there, and he just got lit up.
So Sane on the ropes here now. The last champion for him. All right, he's going to end up going down to the lower brackets trying to take this fight. The bait on the Dire Orb works. Gets Sane off of DaHanG for a couple of seconds. Lets him push back in to try and get some health back. Unfortunately, Sane just stole the health that DaHanG wanted to take. So now, Sane's going to have a pretty big advantage. He can route back in here, get himself the full armor pickup, which he's just taken for free. DaHanG is still picking up scraps of health across the map. Great prediction rocket, though. 55 damage, 50 again, 50 again. And he's almost got his opponent dead now. Just has to have the right to go back in, as Sane was also able to pick up the full health there. Now he's going to dive back in here. Bait on the port. Actually is a port fully. He tries to move back in to re-engage, but doesn't land in the greatest position. So Sane just ends up running out of the room anyway. DaHanG now has a great opportunity to lock this one down. His opponent's going to get the full armor. With that, he's going to fall back, but here comes that nail gun usage again. We didn't see any of that in this map up until this point, but right at the very end, we see it again, and it's the close out on the map as DaHanG is going to take it 3-1, and with that, he'll take the series 2-0 as well.
Yeah.